I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit. All right, y'all. It is Monday, October 4th, 63 degrees in sunny Kitsap County. It is a beautiful day. I hope that you either had an opportunity or will have an opportunity to get out in that beautiful weather today. It is awesome. You know, fall is coming. The rain is going to start getting darker sooner. You know, fall does happen to be my favorite season, though. I love fall. All the colors as the leaves change. Love it. Holiday season starts to kick in, you know. See all the kiddos getting ready for Halloween, decorating the pumpkin. Thanksgiving, one of my favorite holidays. And then going into Christmas. Thinking about my grandmother today, Sally Cameron. Hold her in our thoughts today. My auntie put a picture of her on Facebook, and man, the memories that just flooded back. I was the first one adopted uh, from my dad, and what was awesome was, my dad believed in fasting. And so, when you're a little kid, that's tough to fast, right? And so she would sneak us food. And so we're so hungry, and she'd say, "Oh, Winthrop, don't starve those babies." And but he was training us in the way that he wanted us to go. And but yeah, she would sneak us food, and grandma just, she just took care of us and spoiled us and loved on us. So um yeah, miss grandma. So yeah, we definitely hold grandma in our thoughts today. As you know, every Monday is our Bremerton Housing Authority and KCR series. And today, I think it may just be me. We want to give Matt Garrett at KCR well wishes as he is recovering from back surgery. And, if Jill pops on at some point in time, we will see her. There is some technical issues. So what I've been informed is Facebook and another platform is experiencing issues. So if you're getting any issues on your end and I don't see them on my end, that's what's going on. And I can't control that piece. So we'll just see. To that end, it made me think about, again, this series is the Emergency Preparedness and Equity series, ongoing for the rest of the year. And so many things are built into that. And, this is the housing portion of that. But what happens when our infrastructures begin to fail? How are you going to go about getting your information? Oh, thank you about that, Mr. Dent. Rob says I'm sounding good sound and video. And thank you, Sabrina. Facebook and IG makes sense. Haven't been able to load either all day. Yep. I got an alert, Sabrina, that's saying that it's having some issues, and so that's a real concern, right? So we get our information, we get our news from our usual suspects, whatever that is for you. And so when those things go down, how do you stay informed? And you being informed and having that information when you need it, right, is terribly important. And so from an emergency preparedness stance, you got to start thinking about, what is going to be my backup if these things go down. And I know folks that, it's like, look, social media is my life. That's where I get all my news. That's where I get all my information. This is how I communicate with my friends and family and my loved ones, all of that. So if that goes down, what do I do? It's kind of the same thing. We were joking about it the other day about how, you used to have to memorize phone numbers. I used to have my little black book that I kept, with my wallet with everyone's phone number in there. And now it's all on your cell phone, right? So, but if you lose that, what number do you have memorized? Who could you call right now off the top of your head? I'm thinking 911. I don't know who else. I don't think I know any other phone numbers aside from my own, you know. And I actually have two cell phones. I couldn't even tell you the prefix or the area code of my second cell phone. I have no idea. So, we get to this space. We're so comfortable and we're so reliant on the technology because it's made it so convenient that if you do not have these things, all of a sudden you're in a serious hard spot. And it's like, man, I talk to this person every day, but now I need to use the phone and I have no way to contact them, right? And you're like literally cut off. Sabrina says, start panicking. Ha ha. For some reason of us, it's good detox from a social day. Yeah, absolutely. Right. We got to find a way to pull away from these devices, and we get sucked into these echo chambers. There's a really good documentary on Netflix that talks about. I think they had folks that worked for like Facebook and YouTube, and they talked about programming the algorithms and what it was doing to people's minds and how it was creating addictions and triggering things like gambling, right? And so when you see kids who are, ready to fight, their parents because they took their phone from them or they took the game from them, that's it's all by design, right? They're socialized to, become dependent on it. And if those things are taken away, it's a huge problem. And that's a scary thought, you know. But you're seeing it more and more every day. So you definitely want to moderate um, those tools that you use that can be very convenient and great um, if you use them in a good way. But man, you can get lost in the sauce on that, and then not knowing where your kids are going. So I could tell you tomorrow Layla turns 10, so I can't wait to celebrate that with her. You know her She's only asked for a few things, one being a cell phone. So I've been thinking about that. Mama's like, I ain't getting her a cell phone and she ain't getting no dog. So it's like, yeah, well, I'm with you on the dog one. The cell phone one is kind of a hard one. It's like, I don't know. She's 10. Does she really need a cell phone? What's she going to do with it? She's got a computer. She's got a tablet, you know. Um, but, she's such a good girl. And, she works hard, and the biggest fear for me is just ensuring um, that we're monitoring where she goes, because she is smart, and kids will find things that you don't want them to find, and if you're not watching them and keeping a hold of that stuff. If you've ever Googled something and it pulled up and you were like, "Woo, that was not what I was looking for," right? That's going to happen with the kids. So you got to be really careful with that. And so, you're thinking, "Oh, they're just playing video games or they're just doing that. They're laughing. What you doing? Oh, I'm just watching TikTok. Oh, I'm just watching YouTube." Yeah, but what are they watching on YouTube? What are they watching on TikTok? That could be pretty scary. So, you got to stay on top of what your kids are being exposed to, right? Sabrina says they have apps that parents can monitor everything a child does. Well, if you have that app, I need it because I know she's probably not watching right now, but I think dad's getting her a cell phone for her birthday. So I'm gonna go ahead and cave on that one. How long they use the app and parent approved apps. Okay, I like both of those things. So and that might be a good sell for mom to get over that hurdle. So like I ain't getting her no cell phone, and I know there's that's part of it. That's a big part on why she believes she doesn't need one. So yeah, please share those with us. If you know the name of the apps or if you want to look up some and see what their ratings are on that and just put that in the chat. I think that would be really helpful for other parents that either are thinking about getting their kids a cell phone or, their kids already have a cell phone or a tablet and, they have caught them watching some inappropriate TikTok or, Instagram things or whatever the case may be and want to start trying to monitor that. Right. And there's, unfortunately, I've got a little girl, so I've got to be careful, of predators out there trying to talk to my daughter also, So I will definitely go and get the cane. You know what I'm saying? I ain't playing around. But I want to just make sure that I'm not trying to give her something that she wants, and then be compromising her and putting her into a dangerous situation. So I definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, put that in the chat. So what we'll do today, and we'll see if Joe does come on from the Bremerton Housing Authority at some point in time today. We're going to go over both of their websites. I mean, we'll do one today, and we'll get into the other one next week. I had a meeting with Pastor Ellington and Akuye Vargas. Shout out to both of them earlier today, and we're talking about what we're going to do to continue the conversation, and not operating from a place of crisis, but operating from a place of connecting people together, learning how to heal, having conversations that need to be had that haven't been had before, or only had in certain pockets, that people don't have access to, and then bringing different voices to the table that typically don't have a voice, so that we can begin to address the issues and grow together. Ooh, gather together, grow together. Go ahead now. So that's something that we were talking about. Sabrina says parental control app or Family Safe. I don't remember the exact one I used when my son did have a phone. All right, so Family Safe is one to check, and then there's a parental control app. I think you could just kind of type it in the search, and see what comes up. Guess I could do that, huh? I mean, I do have my phone here. Let's see. Let me go to the Apple Store, the App Store here, and let's see. Parent. I'm gonna just type in parent and see what comes up. Parent control app. Okay, so that one came right up, and I just typed in parent. So parent control app, RPACT Premium. There's a free trial. Parental control. I see the Family Safe here. Uh, there's a free trial. Okay. All right. So those do seem to be two good ones there. Safer Kid Text. Okay, so that's a good one. Circle parental control, keep kids safe, limit block. So there seems to be quite a few in there. And Sabrina kind of put in the chat too that she's used in the past. So that is her recommendations. I think both phones have to have it. I can't remember how, but it was really cool. So I definitely will be programming that on her phone before she gets it. And one of the things too, she said the place I got the phone from, maybe even put the apps on. Okay. My plan is to, you ever give someone a gift and then they've got to spend a bunch of time putting it together and putting the batteries in, getting some batteries because you forgot to get the batteries. And it's like, oh man, I can't even play with it now. And it's like, I want to play with it. Well, we're still cooking because we got dinner going on. So you're like, but my toy ain't ready, I can't use my gift. It just drives you crazy. So we'll go and make sure that everything is ready for her, and if you're careful, you can kind of put it back in the box like you never did anything to it, so she still gets the experience of opening it. But then it's all done, it's set. She can start calling, some of the numbers already programmed in, grandma and uncle and grandpa and mom and dad already in there. So that'd be great. And then her little favorite apps. So that's the plan for that. And so I'm definitely a big advocate of that. And we are talking about emergency preparedness, right? And so, how are you going to get in touch with your kids if you're away from them and something does go down? Right? There is an emergency, whether it's an earthquake or a natural disaster, or a really bad accident or something like that that happens. They're at a friend's house, or they need to get a hold of you. So, what is your emergency plan that you have set? Do you have a meeting place for your teen kids that are mobile and moving around throughout the city if something happens? Do you know where your kids are? And how closely do you track them? These are all things to consider right now. These are some strange and dangerous times for sure. But that's it. Let's go ahead. Let's go and look at the Bremerton Housing Authority. Let's go ahead and take a look at their site here. All right. So this is their whoops, that is not their site. Sorry. That is let me just tell you, at 5 p.m. we have another show that is going to be happening, and this is going to be Banjo and Camo from the Kitsap Resiliency Project. So tune in again at 5 p.m. If you haven't set your alert on Facebook or YouTube, please go ahead and set your notification. Just go ahead and click the bell and you won't miss any of our shows. Um, there's so much to talk about, there's so much information. There's so many people that I am meeting and have information and trying to find synergies and ways to collaborate to build our community and build relationship. So it's a it's a lot, man. There's a lot going on, but yeah, set the alerts. But this is the Kitsap Resiliency Project here, and like I said, Camo and Banjo will be our guests. They are two board members, and they will be coming on to talk to us about some really cool stuff. So tune in at 5 p.m. for that. All right. So here I am at the Bremerton Housing Authority. Okay. Their website is bremertonhousing.org. So you can type that in the URL, and that'll come on up. And as you can see here, you'll kind of recognize, you probably have seen this in the community. The Bremerton Housing Authority logo there gives you a little welcome. You could type in the search there. And as you scroll down, you'll see that they're kind of working on the house. You guys all recognize Jill Stanton, who is the executive director. And let's look at the word from her. The Bremerton Housing Authority will be completing our fiscal year 2022 budget for adoption by our Board of Commissioners at our September 2021 board meeting. So that's taking place now. The budget process is both a financial forecast and an opportunity to establish goals and initiatives to carry out our vision and mission. The Bremerton Housing Authority mission, BHA envisions a future where everyone has an opportunity for a home that is safe and affordable. People are treated with respect regardless of their income level or background, and a person's income level cannot be identified by the neighborhood they live. The Bremerton Housing Authority mission, BHA provides high quality, stable, and sustainable housing and related services to people who have limited financial means. Our work is to help our clients to become economically self sufficient while at the same time strengthen communities. We will use our public and private resources efficiently and effectively. This year, with input from our staff, leadership, and our Board of Commissioners, we established 5 goals. Goal number one: continue to build a strong network of support and services to meet the need of our residents and program participants. We know that everything that we do at the Housing Authority must center on the people that we serve, as they are the reason that we exist. This means that we must have strong systems and processes in place to support our residents and program participants, and that we must be responsive to their needs and provide them the tools they need to remain housed and have increased positive outcomes. Goal two: leverage cloud based technology and electronic document workflow to drive customer satisfaction. We believe that utilizing current technology and implementing electronic workflows will allow us to serve our residents and program participants with increased efficiencies, which will minimize response times and assist with compiling the records that we need to collect. This means that we must invest in technology and training and keep our systems up to date and current. So that's a really important goal. If any of you have navigated housing or other social services, you know how daunting it can be and how it used to be when it was more, paper pencil driven. Um, and or these things were slowly coming online, and it was kind of a hybrid of turn in this handwritten application, and that's got to be inputted into a computer, and you got programs that don't talk to each other, and there's just such delays, right? It would take so long to get help. And so even with goal number two, right, there's still, it still takes time. The services aren't instantaneous. So I love that as goal number two. I think that's really a big deal, and that's a lot harder to implement than you think. Trying to find a program that actually does what you need it to do, right? And oftentimes, you have money and you have to report to the federal government or to the county or wherever you need to report to. Everybody wants it in a different format, so there is no you know one program that's going to satisfy all the needs of the people that you need to report to. So that makes a quite a few challenges there. Goal three is to fully utilize our programs and our resources through community partnerships. We understand that it is imperative that we use all of the resources available to us to house people in need. This means that we need to have our housing choice vouchers at 100% utilization, keep our units filled, and work closely with our community partners on our shared housing initiatives. Goal four is to develop a long term repositioning, preservation, and acquisition strategy and financial sustainability plan. We are committed to preserving the housing authority's assets for many years to come, and this means that we must plan now for long-term financial stability. This means that we will be doing the long term planning to best position our housing authority, preserve our housing, and expand affordable housing in our community. So they recognize that hey, there's not a lot of affordable housing units or just units period in Kitsap County, but that's an active goal to increase that here. And then goal number five is to continue efforts to build positive, equitable, and healthy workplace culture. We believe that our greatest asset is our staff and that we must provide a culture where they can grow and thrive in their work. This means we must have in place equitable systems of pay, benefits, and rewards, and that the culture of our workplace is professional, positive, safe, and non discriminatory. We look forward to being more present in our housing developments and interacting in new ways with our residents and our program participants. Thanks, Jill. So, those are the five goals of the Kitsap Bremerton Housing Authority, which is great. And this is just on the main page here. And, we know that they are committed to doing that because they do come on to the podcast as an example on Mondays and share information. And when we've had, larger podcasts, when we had the renters on, Jill was present with other employees. So they definitely are doing the work. Now, of course, in full disclosure, under Mayor Patty Lint, I was actually appointed as a commissioner for the Bremerton Housing Authority. I think that was maybe 2018. Yeah, probably 2018 is what I'm thinking. So, and I served as a commissioner for close to a year, and then I stepped down as there was some conflict of interest with me running G2, and then serving as a commissioner. So I stepped down from that. Uh, let's see what they're saying here. Office closure effective immediately to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. BHA will be closed with no public access until further notice. Go ahead and click in here. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Okay. So that doesn't mean that they're not there. They are there. You can send an email, you can call, right? And so it's good to, take some time, and when you're not in crisis, you know, go ahead and check out the website of the agencies that you use or your friends and family may use. Look and see what the changes are. Look and see what the opportunities are, because that stuff isn't always going to be pushed out into the community, right? Or when it is pushed out, you may not get that information, via a brochure or a flyer or sitting in a meeting or whatever the case may be, hearsay, word of mouth. So you want to go out and see what's there. Okay, that's really important. Let's see. Sabrina says, the place I got the phone from. Okay, I read that one already. All right. So the emergency housing voucher program. Let's go ahead and click into this. Now, Jill has talked about the emergency housing voucher program in the past. And here, the Housing Authority of the City of Bremerton, BHA, has been awarded 38 emergency housing vouchers, EHV. BHA is committed to working with the Housing Solutions Center of Kitsap County, HSC, to administer the vouchers in accordance with all program requirements. HSC and Kitsap County's consolidated entry vendor. BHA presented an overview of the EHV program at the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition monthly meeting on May 19, 2021. The members of that KHHC, who serve as the local continuum of care for Kitsap County, were in attendance. Okay. And so the survey was followed by a focus group meeting. There were 33 respondents to the survey representing 21 agencies. Gather Together, Grow Together was one of those. In the county, and 15 respondents attended the focus group as we analyzed the data. It became apparent that organizations prioritize the people that they serve. For example, organizations that primarily serve victims of domestic violence, prioritize victims of domestic violence, and so forth. Families with children, disabled, and veterans scored the highest in priority rating amongst respondents. There was also a consensus that the survey was limited and that it may not have reached enough respondents, primarily respondents of color, although we specifically tried to do so. As a result, the most reasonable determination for prioritizing vouchers was to provide vouchers to each organization that chose to participate in the program. This includes agencies that specifically work with minority populations. And so, if you want some EHV FAQs and waivers information, that's here. I'll go ahead and go on that for you. And let me go ahead and zoom in on this. So this talks about who qualifies for an emergency housing voucher, right? You need to be homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking, recently homeless, and for whom providing rental assistance will prevent the family's homelessness or having high risk of housing instability. So if you meet any of those criteria, then that kind of puts you there, right? How many vouchers are available? 38. Can applicants be denied? Only for violent criminal offenses within the last 12 months, manufacturing methamphetamines on federal subsidized property, and lifetime registered sex offenders, right? So the bar is really low as far as qualifying for this particular program. Can they appeal? Yes, everyone denied can ask for an appeal to the decision. And then number 5, on the McKinney Act definitions, the following provisions about not having a support network appears in several places. Lacks the resources or support networks, e.g., family, friends, and faith-based or other social networks to obtain other permanent housing. Does this have to be demonstrated? And if so, how? Organizations certifying whether applicants lack the resources or support networks to obtain other permanent housing must establish procedures of documentation of the evidence relied upon to establish and verify status at intake. The procedures must establish the order priority for obtaining evidence in the following order: third party documentation first, intake worker observation second, and certification from the person seeking assistance third. Specifically for lacking the resources or support networks, the following are acceptable: documentation of this status, certification by the individual or head of household that no resident has been identified, certification, other written documentation that the individual or family lacks the resources and support network needed to obtain other permanent housing. Okay. And then it kind of goes on to talk about the agency roles. So one important thing that I want to point out here, when you're looking at information, it's important for you to go in. I'm just going to click on waivers while we're in here. It's important for you to go and research it yourself. A lot of times we are in a scenario where it's like, hey, I heard this person got this voucher, or got this particular benefit, or my cousin or my friend got this, and this is how it worked for them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be how it works for you, right? And so a lot of folks can get really frustrated and when they find that out, right? Because they believe they were told, hey, this is what I did. I went down and they said this was available. So I filled out the application. I did this, this, and that. And I'm in and I don't have to do this. I do need to do this and I don't have to do that. And then when you go down, you find out that it doesn't quite work that way, right? And so everyone's situation is going to be different. And so it's important that you understand how these programs work. And so this is a list of waivers, COVID-19 waivers, and alternative requirements. The PHA may choose to apply to the EHVs for a limited period of availability. Details on the individual waivers and alternative requirements are found in Notice PIH 2021-14. And then there's a chart there. Okay. So like I said, I'm not going to go over this. I just want you to know where this information is and how to access information from various resources. This can be very stressful. This can cause a lot of anxiety when you find yourself in a situation where you need a service and you need it right now. I see it on Facebook almost on a daily basis. Homeowners getting ready to sell the house. I got 30 days. I'm looking around. There's nothing available, and the things that are going off the market, what is available is like way out of my price range. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Right? I mean, my kids going to school here. I work over here. I may or may not have a vehicle. Like there's all these things going on, and that clock is ticking. Right? And then I got to fill out a rental application and. How many of these am I going to have to go through? Right? Because like $40, $50 per application, however much it costs. You know, what was your mental history like? What's your credit history like? You know, how long have you been on your job? Do you make three times the rent? Do you have an eviction on your record? You know, all of these things all of a sudden now become uh, this present danger, right? Of being homeless, and I don't know what to do. And now you're trying to search and you're talking to folks and you're trying to call the office and maybe, and I'm not saying this is the experience with Bremerton Housing Authority, but you call the office or you send an email where you're waiting to hear back or you're on hold or you don't get that person that day, right? Whatever the case may be. So what can you do to start, you know, reducing some of that anxiety, right? And so one of those big things is being proactive. And I realized that a lot of people, because we have our computer program or our computer classes that we were hosting pre-COVID, and the experience from a lot of folks was, look, I don't really know how to, effectively navigate websites, navigate the internet, and we kind of take that for granted. And even the best of us, right? We kind of go in there, we start looking for stuff, and we've gone down a rabbit hole, and it's been 2 hours. It's like, man, I'm still looking at Facebook. I saw one little side article. I then clicked on this, and I done watched 3 videos. I've done this and that. I done forgot what I even sat down here to do, and then that stress is right there again, right? Or all of this looks like, do I read all of this? What should I read? What is important on here? You know, and so give yourself some grace. Say, you know what, I'm going to take the next 30 minutes or so and I'm just going to go through this website and I'm going to look at, what it is that I need or what I possibly could need in the future, right? Maybe you've got a cousin or a niece or an uncle or whatever the case may be that is in a situation where they're housing insecure or they're going to be moving soon. And you're like, you know what, let me go here and just, I've been watching the podcast. I've seen some other ones and Marwan was talking about this Kitsap eviction prevention assistance, or what is that? Um, who could help me? Let me go here and check this out, right? And if you know about the eviction assistance program, well, maybe you know to look at that, but then you find out, oh man, there's these emergency housing vouchers. I didn't even know about that. Rental assistance for City of Bremerton residents in Bremerton, Washington. Right, so I definitely want to click on that. Rental assistance for the City of Bremerton residents. Bremerton Housing Authority and the City of Bremerton have 2 rental assistance programs. Oh, really? You must be 1 month behind in your rent, except in cases of applying for help with the security deposit. One program is designed to help individuals and families that need help with eviction prevention, rapid rehousing. You are homeless and moving into an apartment, house, or home, or need to move for a particular reason. For example, domestic violence. And security deposits. When moving into a new apartment or a home, you must be living in or moving into the city limits of Bremerton proper. You must be 18 years of age or older. You may be eligible for up to 3 months assistance. You may be eligible for up to 70% off your base rent to be paid. The second program is designed to help individuals and families that need help with rent due to their work hours being affected in relationship to COVID 19. You must live in the city limits of Bremerton and be 18 years of age. To be eligible for the program, you must show proof of loss or reduction of income with a letter from your employer stating hours have been reduced due to COVID 19. This program can be up to 6 months of assistance. You may be eligible for up to 70% assistance off of your base rent. See, that's awesome, right? Oh, and look, the application packet is right here. So we can go ahead and click on the application packet here, right? Which is awesome. Let me go ahead and increase this in size. And another thing too is a lot of times we say no to ourselves and we don't even know what the process is. And again, it could be hearsay, right? Many of us have heard Section 8 and we know how hard it is to get on and how long it takes to get on. We've heard about the lottery program and this and that. But if you're not actively in that system, right? You don't really know exactly how it works. Well, man, what do I have to do that? That sounds like that's a lot of work and this is going to be crazy. What am I going to have to do? This looks like a one-page application. This is a one-page application, you know? So, head of household, date of birth, co-head of household, date of birth, if you have that, your current address, if you have one, your current phone number, your email. Folks, if you don't have an email, set up an email. If you have, uh, if you have a bunch of, let's say you got an email from a long time ago, you got a Yahoo or a Hotmail, and that thing is just inundated with email. You got 1,000 emails unread, 17,000 emails. Make a nice little professional sounding email, right? Nothing like, twerk at hot 21, you want to stay away from those things. But make a nice little email, set up your backup email, make sure you have your password written down somewhere safe. Because a lot of times we don't remember our password, then we're trying to reset it, but we reset it to the email that we don't really use, and we can't remember how to log into that email. So when we try to back up to log into the new one, we can't do that. So don't do that. But you need email. Really important. And so, go ahead and just start over and create a new email and start from scratch, right? And this is going to be one where you're not going to sign up for the crazy stuff and, it's like, "Oh yeah, I just had this random uh, you know, uh I don't know, you were entering into some kind of contest or whatever." You know how our email gets filled up and then you're spending all this time trying to opt out. Don't send me any more emails. Takes forever, right? Then after a while, it's like I'm done with that email. Current phone number, email, your race, whether or not you're Hispanic, name and ages of all additional family members, how many bedrooms, name, address, phone numbers of the current landlord, your current base rent amount, the amount you pay, and I believe your base is what you pay for your rent. So if your water and electricity is factored into your rent, then you would factor that out, right? Your base. Your last rent payment amount and month. Do you currently receive any type of rental assistance? Yes or no? If you do, which one do you receive? Current employment income monthly, right? You can pay it every 2 weeks, multiply by two. If you're getting paid weekly, multiply that by four. If you're getting paid daily, I guess you'd multiply that by 20, right? Typically, there's 4 weeks in a month. So, 5 days a week, five times four. There you go. I certify that all the information contained herein is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Applicant of the signature. This is one page. Must currently live in the city limits of Bremerton. Must be 18 years or older. Huh. They even have a Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian interpreter available. And the phone number for our manual Rivas. It's one page, guys. So please don't be afraid to help seek. Seek help. Check it out. I know it seems scary, like this was going to be a 15-page application. They're going to be asking for, where you lived when you were in second grade and, how you did on your math assignment when you were in junior high, but that's not the case, right? Sometimes applications can be long, but no, one page, pretty easy. Community Connection Program. Welcome to the Community Connection Program. Bremerton Housing Authority has a community resource team too. Ooh, let's check this out. To serve the residents and tenants of the Bay Vistas, the Firs, the Charter House, Casa del Sol, Winfield Apartments, Tamarack, Wright Court, the Shadow Creek. All of our classes are open to the public and community of Kitsap County and beyond. Please join us for free classes and if you need resources. And so they have classes have resumed at all sites, and you can check for the newsletter. There's a photography class. That's pretty cool, right? And there's contacts. All right. So what else does the Bremerton Housing Authority have here? Now, if you notice, I was just navigating from the homepage, right? So I'm going back to the homepage here, and literally we just read the word from the executive director. We talked about the goals, which was still on the homepage. I didn't click anywhere. Then I looked at the office, to see what was going on there. We talked about the emergency housing voucher program. We talked quickly about the Kitsap Eviction Prevention Assistance Program, and then we went into rental assistance for the city of Bremerton, right? So that's all I've done. And then the classes at Bremerton Housing Authority, Class Smart, phone class every Tuesday, 11 to 12 at the Summit Apartments, right? Another opportunity. And then I clicked on the Community Connections program, right? So we're still on the homepage. And there's even a little calendar down here that kind of tells you when things are coming up. All right. So I haven't clicked on resident and participants. So if you want information on Section 8, and look, Ma, no hands. Again, you don't have to click. Clicking is stressful, right? We start clicking, 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 and then we don't remember where we were because we clicked and we started reading. I'm just highlighting what's under the resident and participants tab. Section 8, public housing, residential properties, community connections. And remember, sometimes on a lot of websites, there are multiple ways, more than one way to get to the same page, right? Because they understand when people design websites, they understand that sometimes people's logic will say, hey, you know what? I'm going to look for this information through the tab. Other people might look for it down here on the side, right? Community connection program. So you can either scroll down and get to it, or you can hover over here and you see it there, right? So two ways to get to the same place. And so that's the reason why they do that. Your mind might process it one way and another person might process it another one. Stephanie, shout out to Stephanie. She says, you can set all your parental authorities through your Metro app or parental authorities through your Metro app. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to try that out. That means I might not even have to buy an app. That would be good. So you can look at the Section 8 public housing. I do want to click in here because maybe it'll tells you what Section 8 is. And I don't see anything here about the Housing Authority currently offers the Housing Choice Voucher Program, which has been successful because it provides the participant with the opportunity to choose the type of rental unit and neighborhood that will meet their interests and needs. Families may also take their housing assistance with them when they move, which enables participants to pursue employment and educational opportunities, to be reunited with their friends and family, and to live in a better climate. Awesome. Okay. And here is information on the wait list. So search wait list. So you can search. Please note the results from the recent public housing online application will be available at a later date. You can put in the applicant's last name, which would be you. You should be searching for yourself and no one else, an applicant's last four of your social. So here's where you can see what's going on. And then here are the forms. So do you need a change of circumstance with release? It's right there. Change of circumstance to add a family member, a message form, a definition of a living caregiver, request a reasonable accommodation, and participant request for informal hearing. All right, so that's where those forms are. Okay. I'm hovering over property owners working with the Section 8 program. So if you know someone who is a property owner and they're like, I mean, I might be interested in the Section 8 program, but I don't know anything about it, right? You can direct them to the Bremerton Housing Authority website and they can talk with someone, and they can also kind of read a little bit on it, right? How to list your unit, landlord forms, inspections, working with the Section 8 program, and frequently asked questions. And as KCR and Bremerton Housing Authority talked about, there are resources for landlords and homeowners too. So, make sure that you look into that. All right. Doing business with Bremerton Housing Authority, the basics of procurement at BHA, current opportunities and awards, qualifying to do business with BHA, learn about how to do business. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to do business with the Bremerton Housing Authority, right? Wage rates used for BHA projects. I've been awarded a contract now. What contract with procurement? A contact info, and then about. So you can look at the board of commissioners here. So that's Joan Hanton is the chair. Jeffrey Flood is the vice chair. Will Malpin is on the board. Bo Palmer is on the board. Harriet Bryant is on the board. Victoria Hilt is on the board. All these people were actually on the board when I was a commissioner. They're all this, except for Jeff. Jeff, I think Jeff took my place after I left. And then Jill Stanton is the secretary and the BHA executive director. Always good to be able to see pictures and then read information. I actually want to read Victoria Hilt's bio here. And I'd never seen this before with the Bremerton Housing Authority. And I thought this was really awesome. And we're actually thinking about doing this at G2. So Victoria lives with her 10-year-old daughter, Lisa. She discovered a natural talent for leadership roles, serving as the Head Start Policy Council chairperson twice, as well as the parent ambassador and alumni with the Washington State Associate of Head Start and Early Childhood Education and Assistance Program, as well as a member of their board of directors. In addition, she is a member of the board of directors for a local community action agency, Kitsap Community Resources. In 2013, she was honored by the Department of Early Learning's Strengthening Families Washington Unsung Hero Award. In 2013, she received a State Parent of the Year award for her actions involving advocacy and speaking at the National Head Start Association rally on Capitol Hill in protest of sequestration. Victoria is currently working through schooling with the focus on changing public policies surrounding early childhood education and building stronger families. Although she has discovered a passion in advocating and assisting other parents, she views her role as a mother to be the most important role she can undertake. And why I think Victoria Hilt's position on the board is so important is as a mother of uh, her children, they were able to come into our board meetings, and many organizations don't allow that, right? I mean, it's a professional setting, it's very serious, and Bremerton Housing Authority made concessions for that, right? So you saw in their mission how it's centered around self-sufficiency in regards to housing and family, and they really embraced that. That is the first time I've seen that, and I've sat on uh, a few boards. So shout out to them for that, because what it does is it enables folks that wouldn't otherwise be able to serve as commissioners and on boards and get that experience, right? And she's a subject matter expert, right? So, without being able to have that flexibility, right? Um, she wouldn't be able to do that. So I think that's really powerful for the Bremerton Housing Authority to do that. So I'm really appreciative of that. That they would be so, um, forward thinking in that way. and really kind of embrace it. People and agencies talk all the time about equity or this or that and the other, but it's like, well, what does that actually look like in practice? And that's how that looks. So I've never seen that before. I thought that was really interesting, and I was like, you know what? That's exactly what needs to happen, right? What's awesome too is you can see their agendas and you can read their minutes. So if you want to know what's happening, on a monthly basis, what they're discussing, what they're talking about, that information is right there, right? And if you want to work for the Bremerton Housing Authority, let's go ahead and look and see what kind of jobs. They've got a job program for residents, and you can also work for the Bremerton Housing Authority. So let's see if there's any current job openings here. So we'll go ahead and click in, and there is a PBCA compliance occupation or occupancy specialist 3, a traveling telecommuting position in Washington, right? So you can click on that and get a description. Ooh, 63,000 to 70,000 a year. Not bad. Give you a little summary, your essential functions. And so you can see if you qualify and or what you would need to do to qualify for a position like that if that's something that you want to aspire to, right? You want to get some ideas. You feel passionate about working in this sector, right? That is the way that you can do that. Now, notice when I actually clicked on that piece here, it actually opened a new tab. So as I'm clicking here, just watch my mouse up top as my screen is flickering, uh, because we can get lost. I'm still here under employment, but when I clicked on current job openings, it did open up in a new tab right here to the right. So now I can just go back to this tab and be right back there. Okay. There are also volunteer and internship opportunities. To me, unfortunately, I think because we're in a society right now while so many people are hurting and they're so stressed out, time is so limited, they don't have a livable wage. Um, it's just a hard time for a lot of people right now that there isn't a lot of opportunity to volunteer or get involved in an internship. And what I would say to you is if there is any way that you can prioritize this, spending some time volunteering and doing internships at different agencies gives you job experience, gives you work experience. It gets you connected in the community. You get to know folks. You get to know processes. You get to understand how policy works. Sometimes I know we wonder about, well, why doesn't, this particular thing work this way? Or, why don't they do this? Right. And there could be some legal reasons on why they can't do it. Well, we'd love to do it, but the federal government says we can't. Or, we have all this money, but you can't use, the rent money to buy pizza, right? That's not a legal way that we can use the funds that we have. So yeah, sure. We've got that was a situation that happened at the college when they were building their new theater. And so, other programs didn't have money that they needed, but they were building this, multi-million dollar theater. And it's like, well, wait a minute, how do you have millions of dollars for this theater, but then you don't have money for this? Or I see, this program is having a nice lunch party, but you guys are saying you don't have money in the budget to do these things. Well, these are different budgets, right? And so when you don't understand that piece of it, you're looking at it from the outside, you're just really frustrated because it's like, yeah, these guys are just wasting money and they're just doing whatever. This is crazy. And so, but when you're inside and you get the experience of it, you're like, okay, okay, I get it now. I understand. And you can bring, the understanding that you gain from that experience and then your own lived experience, right? Your own knowledge and skills and abilities, and maybe you can present some alternatives or different ways of doing things that folks haven't thought about, right? And that they should consider if they haven't been doing it. So, volunteering and internships, those things are tremendously powerful. You get so much out of it, and many of those things you can't. They're not tangible immediately. You'll get those things over time. But the relationships that you cultivate, they say that a lot of folks get their jobs not by doing job searches, but by word of mouth, right? Oh man, if there's this position that's opening up or this position is open, you'd be perfect for it, right? And Go ahead and Marcus over there at such and such, right? Just yeah, this position's open up, so go and talk to Marcus. Oh yeah. Well, Marcus knows who you are. Marcus knows your work. So when you're looking at all things equal, right? I've got all the qualifications for this job. She has all the qualifications for this job. They have all the qualifications for this job. Well, my relationship and my track record that people that I'm working with in the community can see it. They know your work. They know your passion. They know your effort, right? Yeah, you're the one. And this is highly competitive. But what it also does is, it gets you tied into the community. It's so important. It gives you different knowledge, skills, and abilities that you didn't have. It allows you to um, cultivate, those skills, add to them. We don't use all the things in our repertoire, you know, on a daily basis. So we could dust some of those things off. It's like, look, I don't know what opportunity might come up, but I haven't done work in the housing sector in 2 or 3 years. So I want to do a little something to make sure that that stays current. Well, how have things changed? How does Section 8 work now? What are some of the new policies and procedures? What are some of the laws that are trying to be passed, right? So that can get you in there, and now you know what's happening. And then, of course, you are such a gift to your friends and family that you can share that information out to, right? And this is fantastic for your personal and professional development. But it's also great if you're looking for something constructive to do with your time. And I know we're tired, but there's we face loneliness and isolation and have this feeling of disconnectedness, and finding an organization where you can intern or volunteer for can bring you together and decrease and diminish those negative things, right? And give you a space where you belong, where you're making an impact on other people's lives. I can't express that enough, how powerful that is. And so, I ask you to consider that. And there's so many different organizations that are doing good work out here. So, whether it's the Bremerton Housing Authority or the United Way or G2 or Surviving Change or, you know, oh, what is it? Hope 360, or there's a thousand organizations out here that you could work for that could use you, right? And it gives you a sense of belonging, right? You've got a relationship with these folks, and many times you'll find that if there's something that you need, they may have unique ways that they can do things for you that they wouldn't be able to or wouldn't do for other folks that are just kind of coming in and accessing the resources, right? Is they're kind of part of the family, you're insider. So that's just really want you to consider that. Um, we all need to have a sense of belonging, having that sense of purpose. Maybe you have a disability, maybe you're a stay at home parent, and the kids are at school and you got a couple hours. It's a great way to just, spend some time with some adults and have that, it can give you that feeling of accomplishment and making change in your community. And it's very empowering. So I encourage you to get involved into that. I think you'll find that you'll look up and you'll be like, wow, man, I've grown so much. I've learned a ton. I understand how things work. I'm able to advocate for, not only just people in general, but for the people that I care about in my life. I'm able to steer them to different places. I've met, different people at different agencies. So now I've learned about even more resources that are out in the community. So I'm even more of an asset to my friends and family. So I think all those things are really powerful. So, I really encourage you to get involved one way or another. And, if that's us at G2, then that is fantastic. But if it's, somewhere else like the Bremerton Housing Authority, that is great too. Just get involved. Get involved. Super powerful. All right. So, one of the things I want to tell you about, we are still offering free transportation. If you need transportation for the vaccine or for rental assistance, you can give us a call at 360 373 3000. Doesn't matter if you're working with kayak or PYA or homeless poverty management or surviving change or Hope 360. You can give us a call, and that transportation is free. If you're going to get the vaccine, maybe you get it at Walmart or Safeway and you need to do some shopping. Well, if it's free, that means that you got a free shopping trip out of it. Take advantage of it. If you want to volunteer, please give us a call at 360-373-3000. We would love to have you. We have all types of different positions. We definitely need help with everything, even with the podcast. We need editors and folks that can market and advertise and do all the things that this is really a job for like 5 people. You know what I'm saying? So try to teach yourself as you go. Ooh, it's crazy, boy. This thing is off the chain, off the heezy, off the hook. It's the bomb. What do they all say? I mean, I think Layla would tell me to go ahead and go and get the cane because I'm really dating myself right now. But send us an email at gather2grow at g2g2.org with any questions, comments, or thoughts that you may have. Again, we will be back with another show in exactly 1 hour. You can follow us on Facebook at Gather Together Grow Together, or you can follow us at YouTube at Marwan Cameron. The show is called The Conduit. All right, we will see you in an hour. I'm Marwan Cameron. Until next time, bye-bye.